Advertising for that.
I'm still standing bed up.
See, I enjoy it.
I see. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, of course.
Well, every season they will have to accept the whole industry.
My name is Neville Reid and I'm the director of Elstree Film and Television Studios. So can I extend a very warm welcome to you all, and especially to our very special guest this afternoon, Sir Roger Moore. Thank you very much for coming today. My task today is to introduce Paul Welsh, who has masterminded this whole event, as indeed he has many others before. Paul has a long association with these studios, and I also believe that both his father and his grandfather worked at these studios. He also played a leading role in the Save Our Studios campaign in the 80s and the early 90s, when Brent Walker were hell-bent on trying to close down these fantastic studios. The campaign was ultimately successful, and when Brent Walker eventually capitulated in 1996, Hertsmere Council stepped in and very bravely bought the studios as an act of faith. And since then, the studios has been revitalised again with money put into it by the Hertsmere Council. And as a result, due to the efforts of this dedicated team we have working here, Elstree Studios is a very commercially successful operation, and is recognised both nationally and internationally as one of the leading studios in the UK. Paul, very deservedly, was awarded the MBE for his special contribution, and we are indebted to him and many others involved at that time for their huge efforts during what was a very difficult time for the studios. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, I'd like to introduce Paul Welsh.
Thank you, Neville. I would like to welcome everybody on behalf of Elstree and Boreham Town Council for organising this event, and to thank Elstree Film and Television Studios, Neville and Julie in particular, for agreeing to host the occasion, and to welcome the Borough Mayor and Mayoress and the Town Mayor who are with us today. I'd also like to welcome back Gareth Owen, who is Roger's personal assistant in Elstree, in this country, but some years ago, as Gareth will remember, as a young student, he came along and volunteered to help gather petition signatures to save this studio in the mid-90s when it was going through a rough period. And it's nice to see a full circle of him coming back to Elstree. We're also grateful for the attendance of a number of guests who worked on the Saint series at Elstree between 1962 and 1968. I think this is probably the largest reunion of people connected with that particular series, which was a worldwide success. And afterwards, we were very grateful all those who were connected with the series could hold on after the plaque unveiling so we could take a group photograph for the archives of everybody who was connected with it. I have several messages of congratulations to Roger to pass on. We've put a number of them into a brochure which has been handed out, and hopefully everybody will get a copy of that if they haven't already. But some that have come in since that was printed, and they've asked me specifically to pass on their goodwill messages to Roger, include Simon Dutton, Julie Christie, Sylvia Sims, Tab Hunter, Jane Asher, Brian Ford, Joanne Lumley, and quite a few other people who are all admirers of the work that Roger's done, both at Elstree and elsewhere. And there's a particular message that's come in from somebody who co-starred with Roger in a TV series that was not shot here, shot at Pinewood, called The Persuaders. And I believe we've got that on tape, and the gentleman who's got it is going to play it to us. A little short message from Mr. Tony Curtis.
Here we are, talking to one another. I hope you're listening. I understand you're getting a blue plaque. Roger, you deserve the blue plaque. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm sure it's going to fit your head. Always, the film profession of ours owes so much to you for all those years that you've dedicated to the films. And I appreciate your friendship and the time we had together. So my handsome friend, take care. Don't let that blue plaque fall in your head.
Well, we're here today to pay tribute to a world-famous actor, but as if you read those comments in that brochure that we've handed around, more importantly perhaps sometimes, a true gentleman. The humour and the wit and the friendliness and the camaraderie that he brought to the production of The Saint at Elstree is recognised by virtually everybody who worked on that series, and that's a rare accolade, and we're very appreciative of his connection with Elstree. But we're also aware that, of course, he did more than just what he did at Elstree, in particular the Bond movies. So as a musical tribute, we're now going to have a little tribute to Roger and his work on the Bond movies, albeit they're not Elstree. This one is called The Man with the Golden Heart, and it's sung now by volunteers from the Borehamwood community who come together as the Borehamwood Community Choir, who just simply sing for pleasure and have decided they wanted to pay their own personal tribute to Roger. So please would you welcome the Borehamwood Community Choir.
In Southwest Age, you lived in Stockwell as a kid. You know you did, you know you did, you know you did. And through the years, from an artist to a film star, you have travelled afar, made a movie or two, raised an eyebrow. You came all the way to Elstree, 'cause they had a job for you. We think that we can tell. Since then you've done rather well. Nobody does it better, makes us feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you. So Roger, you're the best. We were all watching you shoot your stardom in movies and TV in the spotlight, like the saint up above me and the spy who loved me. We're all at
today to unveil the plaque honouring Sir Roger and his contribution to the film and television industry. We have a very distinguished individual himself. There's a long time connection with Elstree going back to the 1960s. Robert Baker has been producing films in this country since, I think, 1948, and television series, quite a few, including Gideon's Way, The Baron, and The Saint here at Elstree, and had an office here for many years. I believe he only recently celebrated his 90th birthday, and is looking younger than most of us in this room, which is quite frightening. But it's good to see Bob back with us today. He's been a good friend of Elstree in past years, and as he was the man who produced The Saint here, he seemed a very appropriate person to ask to unveil the plaque, which I will shortly ask him to do, and then I'll ask Sir Roger if he would care to respond. So please would give a warm welcome to Mr. Robert Baker.
I would just like to give you a little background picture of the Saint and Roger Moore. It all started in 1961 when I had a meeting with Leslie Charteris, who was the author of the Saint series. I persuaded him to give me an option. In fact, I persuaded him to give me a free option on the TV rights of the Saint. Well, that's quite an achievement because Leslie never gave anything free in his life. However, he did grant me the option, and I was fortunate enough to meet Lou Grade about a week or so later, and I was able to persuade him to finance the series. But the biggest stroke of luck of all was when we came to casting the Saint. We offered the part, and Roger accepted the role of Simon Templar, and from that point onwards it's history. We started shooting in 1962 here, and it ran for, I think, 6 or 7 years. That it became a great success was largely due to Roger himself. I remember on the first day of seeing rushes, I saw the day's work beforehand, and I realised at that point that we had a winner. So the show kept on going for 6 or 7 years, and it sold in over 100 different countries and was a worldwide success. This is largely due to Roger, because in all my experience, I've never worked with a more professional, hard-working and sincere actor as Roger. He was, you don't realise, of course, that The Saint is a one-man show, so that means he's on screen practically all the time. So every day after a hard day's work, you would have to go home and read pages of dialogue for the next day's shooting. He was always there on time, he knew his lines, he hit his marks, and was a wonderful, wonderful success. The whole crew loved him. In particular, they liked his sense of humour and his practical jokes, which happened almost every day. Well, after we finished The Saint, we went on to do The Persuaders. Then afterwards, Roger left and did The Bonds. It's my great pleasure, of course, that Roger has now returned to his saintly ways. He travels the world doing wonderful things for UNICEF, raising money, good causes, and so forth. And it's with great pleasure that I've been honoured to unveil the plaque towards Roger. Thank you very much.
It doesn't say 1927. It's one of the parts that say 1927, 2006 was my doctor. Thank you for that. Thank you, Robert. First of all, thank you, your worships, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Robert, for those very lovely words. I don't think I was paid enough. Thank you. It was enough. Thank you too, very much. And you know, for everybody coming here, so many friends. When I was last here in the studios, I had a lot more hair, and I had 20/20 vision, I didn't want it, and I had a 32-inch waist. Life has caught up with me, but I did come back to Elstree 26 years ago, and I can say it safely in front of my daughter and my wife, because they weren't around at the time, that I was having a very passionate love affair with a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful actress called Miss Piggy. And it's all gone rotten. She doesn't write, doesn't call, don't get text messages. But that's life. I had the best time here at Elstree. It was just wonderful. I lived up. When I first came there, I thought the series would run for 6 months. So I rented a house on a 6-monthly basis in Mill Hill. But it went on for another year, so I then rented another house. No, I bought a house. I bought it for, I think, $2,500. A bungalow in Totteridge. And I sold it, I think, for 12, and I thought it was the worst possible thing I could do. I was profiteering. I bought another house in Stanmore for, I think, 50, which I sold for 75, and I thought I was really profiteering. And I bought a house in Denham. Paul Daniels eventually had that house, and he didn't make it disappear. But my profit disappeared. The last film I made here was The Man Who Haunted Himself, which I was always been rather proud of. I played a dual role. I played a nice man, which was quite hard to play, and I played a nasty man, which was very, very easy. But we had the best time doing the same. And I loved playing the character. I don't know where the eyebrow came from. I don't think I did that.
Only when you fired the gun.
No, that's blinking. Blinking. I cannot fire a gun. I'm a terrible card. I must be a wonderful actor because I've always played heroes. And I'm petrified stiff of anything that moves. But I'm grateful for this plaque, and I understand it's going to be moved onto a wall in Borehamwood High Street. Borehamwood High Street, by the way, we used to use all the time in the Saint, and it would be the Champs-Élysées, it would be the First and Down. And all they did was flip the film. They forgot there were London buses. So anyway, I'm going to be in Borehamwood High Street, and I just want to be assured that it will be high enough that dogs can't reach it. Because the critics have done that to me. And I would hate the future inhabitants of Battersea Docks, I would agree. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for this great honour. Thank you for the beautiful words in the song. I deserve them all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm sure a lot of people want to have a word with Roger and get an autograph or two or a photograph, but before that, if I could just ask for a bit of patience, because I wanted to get 2 group photographs done, if we may, with Roger. One with the choir, who sang so beautifully a moment ago, for their album, and then one for all of those people in this room who were connected with the Saint series. And we want to get everybody together who was connected with the Saint, just to come behind those screens there. I'm sure you've heard that one before, but behind the screens there for a photograph, a group photograph, all of our veterans here today, and there are some pretty familiar faces from behind the scenes and in front of the camera. So if you'll just bear with us while we take those photographs, and thank everyone for attending.
Have a look round,
Freedom.